My dad, I couldn't say he was a performer. He actually entered a talent show in the 50s on the radio called Carol Levish Discoveries, which is a bit like New Faces, Opportunity Knocks of its day. And the host was a bloke called Carol Levish. In those days, Carol was a bloke's name as well, apparently. Anyway, he entered that and he won the heat that he was in, and then he just got a job. What happened then? I think it was a bloke with a singing dog and playing the spoons or something actually won. So he got offered a few jobs, but he never took it seriously. He never went professional, and that was it. So as I was growing up as a kid, my mum and dad had four kids. I've got two older sisters and a younger brother. And my mum had a car accident when I was very young, when I was about 7. I remember coming back from hospital, and then she became depressed. She was epileptic after that, all sorts of stuff. And I took it upon myself to try and cheer her up. I think that's where it came from. That would be my mission in life, to try and make my mum laugh, and I think that's where it all started from, really.
So who were your comedy inspirations? Because, of course, your style is unique, but who influenced you?
Yeah, I think subconsciously watching him on the telly would have been Tommy Cooper, obviously. I think that was that. Dick Emery, I love Dick Emery. When it comes to the American, Steve Martin, in the early days when Steve Martin was coming through, I loved all of that stuff that Steve was doing. Andy Kaufman, I don't remember Andy Kaufman. Yeah. He played Latka in the sitcom Taxi, and then Jim Carrey did the biopic of his life, which is called Man on the Moon, which is a brilliant film. But for me, really personally, the people that really influenced me most were the people that took me under their wing, which was Ken Dodd, Des O'Connor and Bob Monkhouse. All of them were my mentors, really, and all three of them were very instrumental in me pushing my career forward, and they were so helpful and just really gave me more help than anybody in the business ever has.
I remember talking to Des a few years ago about, the show that he did, the chat show, and I asked him who his favourite guests were, and immediately off the top of his head, 2 or 3 names came up, and you were one of them, and he was very supportive, wasn't he?
He was great, but for Bradley and myself and all young comics in that era in the 80s and 90s, he gave so much help and a big leg up to all of these young comics coming through. Not just us in this country, but I've got a lot of Americans came over as well. He brought over so many people. I think Jim Carrey was one of them, but he was brilliant. Yeah, and after about 2 or 3 times of doing the show, the first few times you'd have to go and tell him exactly what you're going to say, what you're going to do, and he'd prepare for it. Then after he got more used to you, he'd just don't tell me what you're going to do. I just don't want to know. Just go and do it. And he was brilliant. He was so supportive, and there aren't many people. Once again, Bob was the same. Bob was a genius. Well, so was Des. So was Ken. And I remember I was doing New Faces in 1987. Which is very much like Britain's Got Talent, really, in the format. The only difference was, the difference is now, is they showed the auditions, whereas they didn't used to show that part of it. And I remember I got on the show, and I was in the afternoon. You do your show in the afternoon, and the panel on the one I did, I think it was Ken Dodd, Nina Mishkov. Do you remember Nina Mishkov?
Yeah.
Mishkov, and who was it? Angie. From EastEnders, what's her name?
Anita Dobson.
Anita Dobson was on it, yes. And so I did my show in the afternoon, just a rehearsal, and the judges would watch the performance in the afternoon, the rehearsal. So they had a rough idea that we're going to see live that night, so they could make their notes and decide what they were going to say, which isn't the same case on Britain's Got Talent now. They see it as it is. So I remember doing the spot and then going to makeup after that, ready for the show, and then Ken came in and sat next to me. I thought, oh my God, it's Ken Dodd. I was in awe. And he said, oh, son, nice to meet you. And he said, can I give you a bit of advice? So I said, yeah, absolutely. And he pulled out this bit of paper and he'd written down my whole act, word for word. And he went, right, okay, just do this tonight, do this, right. And he'd change a couple of gags, move that joke to there, get rid of that, put this joke to the end, you finish on a stronger joke there, do this, do that. And he rearranged the whole spot. And he said, if you do that tonight, you'll win. And I did exactly what he said. And I did. I won the heat that night. And then I got through. I came second in the grand final about 3 months later. And Ken and I stayed in touch till he went. And he was wonderful all the way through my career. He's always been there. I remember doing 6 nights a week at Blackpool Grand Theatre. And did you ever see Ken Dodd live, Martin?
I did, yeah. In Panto as well.
Right, well, he was incredible, as you know. But I remember doing 6 nights a week. I'd do Monday to Saturday at the Blackpool Grand Theatre, 2 shows every day. On a Sunday, I'd do a Sunday concert in Skegness. I'd drive to Skegness and I'd unpack the gear, put the props up, put the light and sound, everything like that, do the show, pack it all down, drive back to Blackpool and still catch the last hour of Ken Dodd. It was incredible. They used to charge him fortunes in overtime for all the crew afterwards, so...
Thank you so much for listening to this interview. If you enjoyed it, please click on the like button and ring that notification bell. And there are many, many more to listen to on this channel, so make sure you subscribe if you possibly can. Thank you.